Dan Pierce, author of Single Dad Laughing, once said, "What would it hurt for me to give that homeless guy a couple bucks? Maybe, just maybe, he's actually going to spend it on food. Homeless people do eat, right? Maybe he really is a desperate human being who is trying to change his situation." Homelessness is an epidemic in our society that is constantly claiming more and more people just like you and me. I'm sure that many of you have seen a homeless person on the street. Most of you probably ignored their pleas because you're annoyed by their begging. I've had several opportunities to reach out to the homeless, including working with Dry Bones Homeless Ministry in Denver, Colorado, where I was actually able to experience the plight of the homeless by being placed in their shoes for a night, asking for change, trying to find shelter, and otherwise living their life for a day. Therefore, everyone should act to help abolish homelessness. Today, I will discuss the causes and conditions of the homeless, the steps necessary to stop homelessness, the possible humanitarian gains for the homeless state, and how we can truly make a difference. First, let's take a look at some of the causes. Homelessness has many causes and can affect anybody. Nobody is immune to this ravaging epidemic, so we need to do something to stop it in its tracks. The causes and conditions know no boundaries. Essentially, everyone is at risk of being homeless. No amount of money can buy protection from losing one's home. In fact, the reality that homelessness has only decreased 1% in the last 3 years is quite concerning, considering homelessness is a lagging effect in the economy, so the amount of people who will become homeless will increase, since the effects of the poor economy are escalating and expected to do so for the next couple years. This means even more people are going to fall victim to the streets. A study in 2012 showed 4 populations at increased risk of homelessness: people living in doubled-up situations, people recently discharged from prison, young teens leaving foster care, and people without health insurance. While most of you will not fall under one of these categories, a study found that in the general U.S. population, a person in the course of a year has a possibility of 1 in 194 of experiencing homelessness. In other words, we might be secure and comfortable in our houses today, but struggling to find a place to sleep tomorrow. More often than not, the circumstances of the soon-to-be homeless are too great to overcome. According to estimates from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, a family with a full-time worker making minimum wage could not afford fair market rent anywhere in the U.S. Sometimes the cause is not external but internal. In 2011, of the 640,000 homeless on any given night, the National Alliance to End Homelessness found 26% of these people had a mental illness. Even our returning soldiers often experience homelessness because of disabilities caused by their experiences on the battlefield. Physical injuries, post-traumatic stress, and mental suffering are just a few of these war after-time effects that constantly throw them onto the streets. Finally, homelessness is not restricted to adults. Approximately 1.7 million teens are homeless and rely on the street as a final refuge from abuse at home, with 50% of these teens' parents telling them to leave or not caring that they left. A recent U.S. Department of Health and Human Services study found that 46% of homeless youth left because of physical abuse and 17% left because of sexual abuse. Sometimes teens have nowhere to stay and find themselves graduating from foster care, but don't know where to turn next. In spite of all these dreary conditions, we can take steps to abolish homelessness. Not only are there solutions available that the government can implement, but solutions exist that we can practice every single day. First off, since the main cause of homelessness is housing unaffordability, the government needs to continue supplying federal housing vouchers. These allow low-income households to rent modest market rate housing, and also provides a flexible subsidy that adjusts with the family's income over time. Studies by the Center on Budget Policies Control show that federal housing vouchers are not only more cost-effective than federal programs that build affordable housing, but are also highly successful at reducing family homelessness and return visits to shelters. We also need to build more housing where supply doesn't meet demand, which creates high rents and potential homelessness. And a significant portion of this needs to be targeted at homeless families. This will not only help the current homeless, but greatly decrease the amount of at-risk people. Although we cannot directly build housing ourselves, we have the power to make a change through several simple solutions. First, we can follow the steps of humanitarians like Jesus and Mother Teresa and help in other ways. First, you can donate your time to organizations or shelters that focus on homeless efforts. This is very simple and costs nothing. Plenty of shelters need people to talk with and to clean and just cook food for the homeless. Another step is the next time you see somebody holding the standard cardboard sign, do not think twice about helping. Stop and help them in any way possible. If they need food, give them some. If they need money, give them some. If they need a ride, do not be afraid to stop and give them one, especially if it is on your way. I actually stopped the other day and gave a homeless couple some money and a ride to the Salvation Army across town. They were really appreciative considering it's 105 and not a single cloud in the sky. Additionally, if we do all these things and sell everything we own to help the homeless, it is all in vain if the public is not aware of this homeless epidemic. By learning more about homelessness, its causes and consequences, we can educate others to create awareness. You can write a letter to the editor. You can publish information about local shelters in the paper, including volunteer information. If you have children, educate them. Their generation is the key to the future. After all, this one person's awareness will multiply into 1 million people's awareness. And most importantly, you must believe in our cause. Without true hope and change for the millions of the victims of society, we will achieve nothing. If you believe, especially with God on our side, this will be mission possible. Now that we have learned about the issues and solutions of homelessness, imagine with me life anew without this epidemic. I want to give you a glimpse into the life of a homeless person, and then I want you to imagine with me how this can one day disappear. Imagine waking up in a strange place every day. You are constantly on the lookout for the police for fear of tickets and incarceration. You already have a warrant out for your arrest because you couldn't afford to pay for your other tickets. Not knowing when or how you will eat, you walk around with your pack, asking people for spare change just so you can calm the grumblings of your stomach. No luck. Later that day, you scramble to get to the shelter on the other side of town before it's too full, but you're too late. Exhausted, starving, and fearful, you find a cold bridge to lie under for the night, not knowing if you're going to find food or shelter tomorrow, not knowing if you'll even live to see tomorrow. Now imagine waking up in your own home every day. Even if it is a tiny one-bedroom apartment, you're constantly at ease and secure in your own home. Realizing you actually get to eat 3 square meals a day now, you no longer have to beg to survive. Later that day, you get off work because you have a job with good pay, thanks to the person who donated his time to help you. Now, you have a place to call home. Finally, I want to give you one final urge to be the change in millions of people's lives whom have no place to call home. I have shown you the causes of homelessness and how homelessness can take all of us into its grips. But I also have shown you a light at the end of the tunnel with several actions we can each take to help stop homelessness. Since homelessness does not discriminate against race, gender, orientation, or socioeconomic status, we should all unite together in action to abolish it. Together, we can truly make a difference. As Gandhi wisely stated, we must be the change that we wish to see in the world. So I implore you to go to drybonesdenver.org and give a donation to this proactive ministry that focuses on the homeless youth of Denver. And if you get the chance, the next person you see on the streets who needs some help, just stop and give them something, whether it be food, money, or a ride to a local shelter. I hope you realize the world of homelessness is quite near. It is constantly growing, lurking, waiting for you and for me. For any of us, the loss of a job, the death of a loved one, or severe physical disability could be the route to total despair. This is why I urge you to be homeless human beings' hope. Be their Dan Pierce, because you never know when it is going to be you on the corner holding a sign, just waiting for somebody to change your life. Thank you.